Hey guys, how's it going? It's Andy from MagooInvesting. Welcome back. As you can see, I am in a different location. I've spent the last month at my parents' house in the Bay Area, and now I made the 10-hour drive up north and I'm back in Oregon. So I also got a haircut, so now I look slightly more put together because I have grad school starting on Monday, which is something I need to talk about, and it's pretty likely that I'll probably have to slow down making the videos because I'll be a little more busy. But on this episode of Robinhood Top Stocks, we're going to be talking about Facebook, ticker symbol FB. This has been a requested video in the past, so if there's a video you'd like me to go over in a future episode, please leave it in the comment section down below. And then recently I had someone kind of criticize my pick of Twitter over Facebook, so I thought it'd be a good idea to talk about Facebook today. I've been very adamant about how much I like Twitter as a stock overall, and I've kind of talked slightly poorly about Facebook in the past. So in this episode we're going to be talking about kind of the long-term trends with Facebook and kind of explain why I personally like Twitter over Facebook for an investment. Before we get started, I got to say that I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and I'd highly recommend talking to a professional, someone that can find you the best places to put your money going forward. Also, I really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as it would help my channel out a lot. So Facebook is the social media giant that I feel like pretty much everyone has to know at this point. I was looking at Snapchat in one of the last videos I made, and I was looking at their average daily users, which is a really good metric to kind of see how active people are on a social media website. And so Snapchat has around 210 million. I think Twitter has like 150 to 180 million. But then when you look at Facebook, they have 1.6 billion average daily users. And so that's just incredible that there's so many people using this site, and it makes sense that they are the social media giant. So their user base is massive. They have pretty much connected everyone in the world. But kind of one of the problems that I have with them is they're kind of in the political spotlight right now. And so there's been lots of news stories with Zuckerberg on the stand in Washington, D.C. talking about their targeted political ads. And so this has been a very large topic of discussion with the upcoming election. And so the main problem that people have been having is that Facebook has been okay with people putting out ads that are lying about the information that they have. And so there's been a lot of backlash, especially with the upcoming election, about how to go about regulating information that's going out to 1.6 billion people per day. And so Facebook has kind of been on edge. Considering that they've had these negative news stories going around for the past couple months or even a year, they're pretty close to their all-time highs. They're currently sitting around just north of $205, and Facebook has had a pretty good year. I believe they're up 35% since the beginning of 2019, and that's a pretty solid year. I'm pretty sure that out of the FANG stocks, which is Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google, I think Facebook has had the best year besides Apple. So that's pretty impressive for one of these massive stocks. Facebook is definitely the blue chip stock when it comes to social media, and they have had a fantastic year. One of the really attractive things that I found about Facebook is that for the longest time, they didn't have any long-term debt. And recently I've seen that the number has increased to, I think it was in the billions, but I can't find any information on exactly where that's coming from. But the fact that their debt to equity ratio is so low is very attractive. Every time you look at these companies, you have to see how much debt that they're holding. And the fact that Facebook has very little long-term debt is a sign that they have fantastic cash flow, and they have a ridiculous amount of cash on hand. I'm pretty sure the most recent number I saw was $52 billion. And I read an article talking about how with the money that they have on hand, they could potentially take the company private and buy back all those shares. So it's just crazy to think about how much money they have on hand in addition to the very low amount of debt. So going along with the cash on hand thing, their revenue over the past couple years has been incredible at how fast it's been growing. The most recent number I saw was, I think it was around $65 billion for 2019, and that's like a 30% increase from the year before that. And the past couple years, they've increased by 30 to 50% every year. And it's very impressive at how much money they're making, which is why a lot of people consider Facebook to be a very reliable long-term investment. So while the fundamentals for Facebook look really solid overall, one of the main reasons that I've been kind of critical about the company in the past in these videos is I think that Twitter has a lot more potential than Facebook does. And this channel is mainly dedicated to talking about finding investments that are kind of overlooked or are undervalued. And Facebook is definitely not undervalued. When comparing the two between Facebook and Twitter, obviously Facebook has the lead in pretty much every category you could possibly look at. But the reason I've been so high on Twitter overall is I think their platform has the potential to transition into the size that Facebook has. I think they've been very good at showing news and connecting all these people that mainly weren't on Twitter beforehand. And I think politics has been a great thing to push the platform higher. Facebook, on the other hand, is pretty much as large as I think it'll probably be. It is expanded to pretty much every country in the world. Everyone knows about it, and I think that Twitter has the potential to do that as well, but it's very undervalued currently. Price-wise, Facebook has had fantastic returns over the years, and Twitter has not had the same. And so the reason I'm so high on Twitter and not Facebook is Twitter has a lot of potential that's not been realized yet, while Facebook has had fantastic success since its IPO. So with that being said, let's hop on over the computer and we'll take a look at the charts for Facebook. Ticker symbol FB. All right, so here we are looking at Facebook on Robinhood today, currently sitting just below $209 with an 88% buy rating and 126,000 people owning it. So it's pretty popular overall. 1 week, it's pretty flat. 1 month, it's up 4.5%. 3 month, 16%. And 1 year, almost 56%. So a pretty solid year overall for Facebook. It does not have a dividend. PE ratio of 33, which is, I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. I only like talking about PE if it's really high or really low. And 33, I'm pretty all right with that. 88% buy rating, 10% hold, 2% sell. I'm very curious to see. Let's see what they say. Facebook is currently a one-trick pony and will be affected severely if online advertising no longer grows or if more advertising dollars shift to others like Google or Snapchat. So I guess that's the only thing they can say poorly about it. But as we come on to TD Ameritrade, this is the month chart. Just kind of, and I'll keep it here for a sec. It just kind of shows the history of the stock since it IPO'd in 2012. Yeah, 2012. It's had fantastic returns. Fell pretty hard when the market fell and recovered very nicely, which is where you get that 50% year. As we come onto a smaller time frame, I've kind of charted out some important zones that I like looking at. Right now, there's not a lot going on. I like charting the 52-week high just because that often acts as a resistance. So I'll be watching that as it comes up here. So I'm going to set an alert to see if it can break above that. But overall, I think that Facebook, the chart, there's not a lot to get from here. It's had some I think it's really interesting that it gaps down a lot. Anytime there's earnings, it reacts very aggressively before the market opens and results in these gap ups or gap downs, which not really a lot to say about it. I just think it's kind of interesting to look at right here, and then the drop here, gap up, gap up. So it's just kind of something interesting to look at. Playing Facebook going into earnings has been very common overall for options, especially. I wouldn't do that personally, but it's something that people do. But yeah, looking at the chart, I think it's solid. I think it'll probably end up breaking this all-time high in the next couple months or a couple weeks even. But let's go look to see what the analysts have to say. Over here, year to date no longer works because it's the first week of January. But coming down here, they have the upper end is up 64% and the lower end is down 43%, which is a very wide range for a massive blue chip stock, with the median being up 15%. So seeing the down being almost 43%, that's kind of maybe not a red flag, but it's just kind of a warning flag to look at. When you're looking at stocks like Facebook that are giants in the sector that you're trying to invest in, seeing down 43% as the potential price forecast does not give me a lot of confidence. When we looked at Microsoft in the last video, everything was green, and so that's what you like to see for a reliable company. So down 43% is kind of not making me feel good about it overall. When we go to Yahoo Finance, they have it as a buy, undervalued, up in the short, medium, and long term. So kind of like what I've been saying, I think Facebook is fantastic overall. The reason that I'm not super high on it is because I think there are better investments in the social media field. But for a reliable long-term company, I think Facebook is great. So overall, I think Facebook is a wonderful company. I have nothing poor to say about the overall company itself or the fundamentals. The reason that I'm not so high on Facebook overall is I think that in the social media field, I think it has kind of maybe not run its course, but I don't think it's the best deal anymore. It's had fantastic returns over the past couple years, but when I look at stuff like Snapchat and Twitter, I think they have the potential to become the giant that Facebook is currently, and that's why I currently own shares of Snapchat and Twitter, but not Facebook. If someone came up to me today and was looking to buy shares of Facebook, I'd be like, that is a fantastic idea. I think it's a great company, and I think the returns will reflect that. The problem is this channel, I really like following companies that I think are very undervalued, and Facebook is not undervalued. It's currently sitting close to its 52-week highs and its all-time highs, and so it doesn't check the box on it being undervalued. And so Facebook for a long-term investment I think is solid. However, it's not the type of investment I'm looking for. So let me know what you think about Facebook overall. Do you think it is the giant still, or do you think that something like Twitter or Snapchat will come in the next couple years and take over that position as the giant in the social media field? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching this episode of Robinhood Top Stocks, and I'll see you in the next video.